Hello, language learners. It's Maddie here from English with Maddie, and I'm so excited to welcome you back to another episode of my Real Talk interview series, where I find people and friends all over the world to speak English in a natural way so that you get the opportunity to hear different styles of speech, different vocabulary that people use, as well as just hear from some really cool and inspiring people, especially people who have learned another language and traveled to other countries. Today, you are going to hear from one of the sweetest girls I have ever met in my entire life. Her name is Sabrina, and I met her when I was studying in South Korea. She is absolutely amazing. English is her native language, but she grew up in a very multilingual country where a lot of other people were speaking English as well as other languages. So I think her perspective on English and language is fascinating, and it's great to hear from her. So, on that note, let's meet Sabrina.
Hi, my name is Nur Sabrina Farouk binti Muhammad Farouk. Yes, very long, but I just usually go by Sabrina Farouk. I am 21, turning 22 this year, and I am from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I'm currently in between, I'm kind of a student still, I guess you could say, because I just finished, well, a couple months ago, I finished level 5 of the Seoul National University Korean language program. And prior to finishing level 5, I had already planned to come back to Malaysia, maybe work for a bit because I was working before going to Korea. And I was thinking, okay, maybe I just work for a couple months or however long and go back to Korea to finish level 6 and graduate the program. But then the pandemic happened, so I just continued with coming back to Malaysia. And since we've kind of been on lockdown, I mean, we're slowly recovering. I've just been mostly staying at home, just praying that I'd be able to either start work or go back to Korea. But yeah, that's where my life is at right now. Where did I grow up? I grew up here in Kuala Lumpur. My parents are from outside of the city. So my dad is from the northern side and my mom's from the southern side. And they both met here in the capital. So they got married, started a family. So I've been here ever since. Okay, what's it like growing up speaking English in a multilingual country like Malaysia? Okay, thankfully, I didn't really face any big obstacles, I guess you could say, because this is the capital city and there are a lot more people speaking English than, in like the smaller towns and stuff. And I did grow up around people that could speak English, so that was what we usually communicated in. But I did have some problems initially when I was younger, like when talking to my relatives, especially back at my parents' hometowns. But we've kind of overcome that. They've learned more English and I've learned more Malay. So yeah, now we can communicate a lot better, thankfully. When did you first start studying a second language? Okay, so my parents brought me up speaking English, which means I don't really speak Malay at home with them ever. And the reason being is because they felt like I'd have a better chance at getting a better job if I spoke English. Like, I'd have more opportunities in the future because of how widely used English is, and because I'd eventually pick up Malay anyway. So I guess they just thought it'd be better for me to have a kickstart and just start me off with speaking English. What were the most challenging and most rewarding parts about learning a second language? Okay, I'd say most challenging parts, first off, nuances. Those are very hard because you can't just kind of learn them off of a textbook. You kind of really have to immerse yourself in the culture, know the people, and then you'd be able to understand the meanings of these things. And another thing is irregularities. Like, English is notorious for that. And because I kind of think of English as like my mother tongue almost. I I just kind of know how they work, but then if someone were to ask me, which they have, I have no idea how to answer because so I can't imagine how it's like just learning it from scratch, especially for English. So good luck. And third thing is vocab, because I mean every language has an extensive number of words. You have synonyms and antonyms and all of that. So yeah, those are definitely the hardest parts of learning a language for me. But the most rewarding parts, personally, are just being able to communicate with more people and being able to enjoy more types of media, I guess. And when you travel to a country that speaks that language, you don't have as hard of a time adapting and finding your way around. And yeah, it's just always really satisfying to be able to say that you can speak another language and like experience a whole other culture. Yeah, that's what I think is most rewarding. Okay, how did you decide to study abroad? What was it like? What were your experiences? Okay, I decided to study abroad because I wanted to learn Korean. And at the time, I just finished A levels, wasn't sure what to do, and my aunt suggested, hey, why don't you try like a language course abroad? Because I had gained interest in like Korean culture since I was about 15, 16, thanks to my mom, because she was watching a lot of Korean dramas on TV and I got hooked. But then I kind of fell off the bandwagon, and then while I was doing my A levels, I fell into K-pop and got really into BTS. So that really influenced my decision to study in Seoul and learn the language. And I'd say my experience was amazing, or like liberating, if you will, because I'm an only child and I always went to day schools. I never went to boarding school. So it was really nice to kind of be independent and do everything myself for once. And I'd say it was really rewarding because I didn't do as bad as I thought I would. Yeah, I was very proud of myself. And people were always really nice. Well, there are obviously, the mean ajumas and stuff here and there, but everyone was so nice when they found out that I was living there to learn the language. They were always very kind and very supportive, very encouraging. So I had the best time. Okay, hardest parts about living in a non-English speaking country. What were the best parts? I'd say the hardest parts were mostly at the beginning, obviously, I guess, where it was just really hard to have a really simple conversation about necessary things like paying your bills, going to the bank, and speaking to your landlord. Oh my god. It was very, even sending a text message was very scary. But as time went on and I started learning more things, it became a lot more manageable. But I'd say it wasn't excruciatingly hard. It's just that you need to, have that kind of mindset where I'm gonna eventually overcome these obstacles and just use it as a way to motivate you. And also another hard part for me was because, well, I am a Muslim and I don't eat pork, I don't drink alcohol. So, and Korea is very, Korean culture is made up of a lot of those things. So finding a place where I could eat out at was very challenging at first, but thank God for Naver Maps. I found so many places I could eat at, vegan places, and it was a really great opportunity for me to eat different types of cuisine. So yeah, that was, I guess you could kind of transition that into one of like the best parts. And apart from that, I really enjoyed being able to live in a different country and experience their way of life, because as advanced as the world is right now, obviously there are countries that are more advanced than others. An example being Malaysia and Korea. Korea is just so streamlined. Their public transportation system is amazing. I miss it every single day. And like their internet was so fast, and online shopping was so easy. I didn't do it a lot personally because there were some issues I had to that I encountered, so I just thought, nah, it's fine, I won't really do much shopping. But how conveniently everything has been laid out still blows my mind to this day. And I also really enjoyed the four seasons, because Malaysia is a tropical country. It's either hot or hot and rainy all year round. So it was so nice to experience snow for the first time, to experience being outside and not sweating after 5-10 minutes, and just experiencing that perfect temperature, like that perfect weather is, yeah, it's amazing. I loved it so much. What are your future language learning goals? Well, for now, I intend on mastering Korean because I still have a long way to go. I'm lacking in so many aspects. Yeah, that's mostly it for now. Learning Korean. I always have a new language that I want to pick up almost every week. But I think since I'm so far into Korean at this point, might as well just learn it all the way through. And then maybe in the future, I do plan on learning Mandarin. Again, because it's so widely used, even here in Malaysia, because we do have a very big population of Chinese people. Yeah, those are my goals for now. Of course, I guess in the future, I mean, I'd love to learn Arabic, and I'd love to learn Thai or even Japanese. Yeah, it's a lot, but hopefully I'll become a true polyglot in the future. Yeah. Okay, what are some of your goals or dreams for the future? Well, I really hope to be able to stay in Seoul again for a longer period of time. I mean, I hope I'd be able to find a job where I'd be able to stay in Korea, kind of integrate myself more than I did when I was studying Korean there. I know, I just really fell in love with Seoul, and I've never really felt like that about any other country. I could be biased because of how much I like Korean culture, but yeah, it was I still would choose to live in Korea if I had to choose somewhere else to live, in a heartbeat, for sure, hands down. I mean, apart from that, I would also, like I said before, love to learn new languages, because always a good skill to have. You're never gonna experience, it's never gonna be a bad thing to learn another language. It's always a good experience. You meet more people, and like I said before, you can, meet more people, communicate with them, learn more cultures. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and learning more about how I learned English and my life story so far. I hope your English learning language is going great. Don't be discouraged. Learning a language is always hard. You should pat yourself on the back for coming this far. I'm sure you're doing great, and I hope Maddie's language program is going to help you learn so much more about the language and open up your horizons. But yeah, thank you so much, and I hope you have a nice day. Bye!